All right, let's jump right into something that honestly terrifies way too many people, and that's business finance. Today, we're totally stripping away all that intimidating accounting jargon to get straight to the core of how money really works. And the best part? You absolutely do not need a fancy accounting degree to master this. We're going to make it simple.
So, let me ask you a quick question. Which business would you say is healthier? Is it a company making £100,000 in profit every single year, or one making just $20,000? Now, I know most of us instinctively jump at the 100 grand option. I mean, it seems completely obvious, right? But here is the wild part. What if I told you that the highly profitable £100,000 company actually runs out of cash next month and goes completely bankrupt, while the £20,000 company survives and thrives? Crazy, I know, but it perfectly illustrates the absolute fatal danger of driving your business blind. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're starting with the great profit illusion. Then we'll see why cash flow is king. After that, we'll build your business financial dashboard, look at funding and future planning, and wrap up with the crucial metrics for success.
First up, the great profit illusion. Let's talk revenue versus profit.
One of the single biggest mistakes we see beginners make is completely confusing revenue with profit. Revenue is just all the money your business takes in from sales. Now sure, a massive revenue number is fantastic for bragging at dinner parties, but honestly, it's kind of a vanity metric. It absolutely does not tell the real story of your business's health.
And that brings us to the ultimate reality check, profit. Profit is what's actually left over after paying all of your expenses. It totally strips away the shiny illusion of those big sales numbers and tells you what you actually get to keep at the end of the day.
So, the crucial point is, let's say your business sells £10,000 worth of products this month. Awesome. But if your expenses to make and sell those products are £8,000, your actual profit is only £2,000. Revenue looks great to outsiders, but profit? Profit tells the real internal story.
Moving right along to Section 2, why cash flow is king. This is your ultimate survival key.
Okay, here is an industry secret that a lot of people learn way too late. Actual, physical cash is far, far more important than profit. Cash flow is simply the movement of money in and out of your business. You can have a company that looks perfectly profitable on paper, like our 100 grand example from earlier, but if you run out of cash to pay your bills today, your business fails. Period.
And this brilliantly illustrates the trap. Imagine a customer owes you £50,000, but they aren't going to pay you for another 90 days. Meanwhile, your rent, your team's salaries, your electricity, all of that is due this week. You've got the profit on paper, sure, but you don't have the cash. That is a lethal cash flow problem.
All right, Section 3, your business financial dashboard. Let's start tracking your money.
Ultimately, finance is just a tool to answer three straightforward questions. Where does money come from? Where does it go? And how can we make more? Think of these three financial statements as the crucial dials on your car's dashboard. First, you've got the profit and loss statement, showing your revenue and expenses. Think of it like a movie playing out over time. Second is the balance sheet, showing what the business owns and owes. That's more like a snapshot frozen in time. And third, the cash flow statement. That tracks the actual cash moving around, which is basically your survival report.
Let's zoom in on that balance sheet for a second. Assets put value into your business, so cash in the bank, inventory, your equipment. Liabilities, on the other hand, are your obligations to pay. Bank loans, taxes, supplier bills you haven't paid yet. A really healthy business is generally working to increase its assets while keeping a very strict leash on its liabilities.
Section 4, funding and future planning.
Now that our dashboard is set up, let's talk about managing growth. When it's time to fund that growth, you generally hit a crossroads: debt or equity. Debt means you borrow money. You keep 100% ownership, but you've got to repay that loan with interest. Equity means you sell a share of the business. You don't have to repay the cash, but you are giving away a piece of your pie. Neither is magically better than the other. The right choice is entirely dependent on your specific goals and how much risk you're willing to take on.
But how do you even know when you need that funding? Well, successful businesses don't just guess, they plan. A budget is what helps you answer those massive strategic questions with actual confidence. Can we hire someone new? Can we buy that new equipment? Can we afford this marketing push? A budget literally turns the terrifying uncertainty of the future into a concrete, actionable strategy.
And finally, Section 5, crucial metrics for success. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these three numbers empower you to make significantly smarter, high-level decisions. Every entrepreneur has to know these. First, profit margin. That tells you exactly how much profit you keep from every single sale. Second, the break-even point. This shows you exactly where your revenue finally catches up to your expenses. And third, return on investment, or ROI, revealing how much money you earn compared to what you put in.
All right, if you take absolutely nothing else away from our explainer today, please let it be this. Revenue is not profit. Profit is not cash flow. Cash flow is what actually keeps businesses alive. Internalizing the difference between these three things is literally the difference between financial vanity and true financial sanity.
So what does this all mean? Well, business finance isn't actually about giant, complicated spreadsheets. It's about understanding how your money moves so you can have control. Are you ready to understand your numbers and really control your future? The more you grasp this stuff, the more power you have over your destiny. If you found this explainer helpful and want to keep leveling up your knowledge, make sure to hit subscribe. Thanks so much for joining us, and keep learning.